Uh, you know the vibes. Um, Today I'm gonna do the Sun in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the ninth sign of the zodiac. It's immutable and it's a fire sign. Uh, it's represented by, well, it represents like Jupiter. Jupiter is the ninth house. It's the planet of wisdom, knowledge, expansion, and experience. Uh, so Sagittarius just can have like, they can swing in two poles. They can either have like a larger than life imagination, let's say, and the want to travel and experience things a lot. Or it could be vice versa because it is about higher wisdom and knowledge. So it could be into like spirituality and religion just because of like it wanting to be higher. So like look, Sagittarius is like, when it comes to the fire sign, like Aries wants to initiate, go, 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 and hit the goals, but not necessarily like when you hitting goals, you cannot necessarily be like learning the wisdom of why you hitting them. You could just be hitting them to hit them. And then with Leo knows how to take the fire and fixate on it and hold it, but Leo might not necessarily know when to let go of positioning and why, and how to be wise with in certain situations. Whereas the Sagittarius, not only can they learn through experience, but they can also learn from watching the other two people operate and how they do things. So that's what the the wisdom of watching other people and having a bird eye view and all that other stuff. That's where Sagittarius gets that's where Jupiter gets that from. Um, so they can swing into the, like I said, swing to the pole of wanting to experience or sheltering themselves from experiencing just because of how other people operate. So it works in two different ways. Um, but they hate being Sagittarius hate being caged in. Like they hate being boxed in. They hate being put into like, it's weird. Like they hate being expected to do things. Like a Sag will want to do something for you, want to help you, want to be there with you, want to be there around you, but they want to be there on their terms. They share a lot of, they can share that with Aquarius. Like they there for you, but they don't want you to be, they don't want to feel responsible for you. That's what it is. Like that's what the difference in the fire signs. Like Aries, even though like Aries is cardinal and Aries mess up a lot, and people kind of like watch them to see whether or not they got to be responsible for them. A Leo wants to be responsible for other people because it's positioning. A Sagittarius doesn't. They'll be there for you, but they don't want you to rely on them. Um, they can be a tad bit condescending, like the energy, because it's the bird's eye view energy. It's the energy of I'm looking at all the pieces to see what's gonna happen. So it could come off like preachy and teachy because it's like they really trying to give you advice or tell you what to do or tell you a different way to do something that might maneuver and work out better. But like you just probably don't want to hear the shit right now. So that's where that comes into play. It can come off as a little preachy. Um, and also too, they can kind of be people pleasing for like, I don't want to say people pleasing in like a bad sense, but like when you can see what somebody want and somebody need, and you kind of can feel that role, that's how it comes off as people pleasing. But at the same frame of mind, if it's like you trying to feel the role of somebody, trying to feel the role for somebody, and it's not necessarily you, then that'll come off as like you not gonna want to hold that form no more. And then when somebody is looking for you to be there in that capacity, you not there, and that'll rub people the wrong way. And that's how it comes off. It just comes off kind of like 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 people pleasing when you didn't have to put yourself in that situation in the first place. So just remember, like, even if somebody like complaining to you or somebody like, sometimes people just vent. They don't necessarily need you to come fix the problem or come weigh in on the problem. Sometimes it is what it is. Like, they can 9 times out of 10 get themselves out of a jam, but then having that Sagittarius fire, because Aries kind of wants to look like it doesn't need any help. Leo wants to look like it can help everybody, and then Sagittarius wants to look like it's wiser than everybody. So they're not gonna, how somebody would complain about something and vent to a Sagittarius, that might come off as them looking stupid. Like, the Sagittarius might not necessarily vent, or they might vent to certain select people who not gonna tell nobody, because the Sagittarius wants to look wiser than they may appear. So, but then it looks like even being in that energy or being in that mode, that might cause you to look wiser than everybody else, because you don't show what's actually going on internally. You only show the good. You don't show the bad. You don't. It's like wise. It's wise enough to realize that it's being looked at. They're also, Sagittarius is also very good at public speaking too. Like, I know that leans more towards like the fire sign of Leo, but Sagittarius are good at it too, especially when it's passionate and it has feeling behind what's happening. Then they speak more, especially if they're talking about spiritual things or something that they're wise about or something that they know. Then they become very good public speakers. And they like to be happy-go-lucky, or they like the wisdom, like, it's wise to, when you come into a situation, to be a breath of fresh air. So they like to do that when they around people. They know how to be around people but still be one of the people. Like, Aries might not know how to be around people all the time, and Leos might only want to be around people if they're above the people. A Sagittarius knows how to be just part of the group, like be a part of it, be actually in the group. Like I said, they like to experience, and they like to, like, philosophy and wisdom and religion, and it's like they like to experience. Whereas Gemini, the opposite sign of Sagittarius is Gemini. So a Gemini might want to know the directions just to know the directions, to be technical with it. A Sagittarius might vibe basically based off the feeling of it. So something they can learn from Gemini is to learn the instructions, and everything is not a meaning behind it. Everything is not a reason. Some things is just technically point A to point B. Something that they could learn from their fire sign Aries is because Aries is cardinal, Sagittarius is mutable. Something they can learn from that is to just like be more initiating and be more individual goal oriented, because a Sagittarius is mutable, and the mutable signs can be around a bunch of people, add ideas to a bunch of stuff, do this, do that, do this, do that. But when it comes to initiating they own, it's not that they have a problem, but you can get so many different ideas to incorporate that you never actually go on your idea, because it's like the same way somebody can initiate an idea, you can add on to their idea. You can initiate your own idea and then add on to that as well. So just because you like being around people and you like gauging, sometimes you don't need to do that all the time. So something you can learn from Aries. Something you can learn from Leo is to be fixated. Leos know how to root themselves into something and fix themselves and ground themselves into something and do it for the long haul. A Sagittarius is, because it's a mutable sign, likes to bounce around and do a bunch of different things. Some things you can learn from Leo is to sometimes root yourself in an idea and you be, or the project, and you be the center of it, and then let other people add on to you. Because if, like, even with Sagittarius energy, like wanting to, it can travel around and around so much and talk to this person and go here and do this and do this and do this and do this, And then when it comes time for their home energy, or it comes time for their own building or their own projects, they can lose a lot of energy dealing with other people. So something you can learn from Leo is just root yourself in it sometimes and let other people add on to you. And then there's the Jupiter aspect of it, and then the neighbor energy of Sagittarius is Pisces. Because Pisces, Neptune is the co-ruler of Pisces. Jupiter is the main ruler. So just like the whole Aries Scorpio thing, Pisces and Sagittarius have that same thing too. But I'll get into that. They can learn from Pisces is to sometimes tone down the fire, because Sagittarius can get preachy, they can get teachy, they can get fiery, they can get up and but it's like sometimes all that passion kind of dilutes the message. So like you might not come off as you attacking somebody personally, but that don't mean that they're not taking it that way. So what you can learn from Pisces is to kind of use that, because Pisces is a water sign. Sometimes you can kind of, just because it's spirit, that don't mean you connecting to somebody emotionally. So instead of you trying to use the spirit all the time, sometimes you can connect to the person emotionally and then share what you're trying to share with them through that angle, versus trying to get them to be on the same spiritual level as you. That's something you can learn from Pisces, is just kind of be more subtle and be calmer when you do it, and try to connect to that person specifically. I think I covered everything. And also too, something you can learn from Gemini is just like I said, with that, everything doesn't require a spiritual meaning or a spiritual response. Everything is not, well, I experienced this, maybe this means this, and maybe this means that. No, sometimes it's just this, and that. Sometimes it is what it is. But all in all, Sagittarius energy, my experience with Sagittarius energy, Sagittarian people around me, they always leave me thinking about something they said, or I connect the dot like later on. But yeah, that was the Sun Sag video. You know the vibes. All right, everybody have a good day.